Brett, do you agree with Tom Fitton's contention that the DOJ needs to be razed to the ground and salted of the earth?
Well, what I would say is, I listened to Tom. I understand a lot of, and agree with a lot of what he said. But I would say this, Benny, the one thing that a lot of folks don't know is there was a plan. I was part of the transition team and the beachhead team.
Please.
And there was a very thorough plan that was put together by folks like myself, a lot of former U.S. attorneys like myself, former assistant U.S. attorneys, former DOJ high-level executives. And unlike what happened in the State Department with their plan, and unlike several other agencies, the DOJ plan wasn't followed. And when I say wasn't followed, we made recommendations on internal gutting that needed to occur in order for the Attorney General to maintain the capability of implementing this administration's priorities. And I'll give you some specifics.
Wow.
It has long been the view of many of us that know DOJ intimately that the DAG's office had been consuming power in Main justice for decades. What I mean by that is it was gathering in. Anytime the AG has a team and they delegate and they lead the various offices, what the DAG's office has been doing, and largely Comey was a major reason for this to have occurred. The DAG started to pull power in. Right now, the DAG is the power core of DOJ. I've said it, many have said it. That's why it's so difficult if you don't change that for anybody coming in as AG to actually make the institutional changes that have to be made in order to have the politicals making the decisions at the top. You have over 100,000 employees. Over 100,000 employees in the Department of Justice, 90% of which made campaign contributions to Democrats. Of all the campaign contributions made, 90% have gone to Democrats over the years. I think whether it was Pam or anybody that went in that job, if they didn't have an intimate knowledge of the complexity of DOJ and where the power central core is and where you're vulnerable, and who's going to be undermining you. If you don't have that, it is going to feel like every single day you're being attacked and you're being undermined, and you can't implement what the president's, what his priorities are. And that's a little bit what happened. And it's not Pam's fault. It is the entire executive leadership team that has to come together and make those significant changes to the structure and the personnel and who has what authority inside Main justice. You and I have grown up with all these sci-fi movies and things like that, and you see like Terminator or any of these others where the artificial intelligence starts to gather power, and pretty soon it's the humans that are the ones that are the target. Mm-hmm. In a lot of ways, that's what has happened with DOJ. It's been consuming power and growing bigger and stronger. And those that really want to get in there and accomplish justice and want to prosecute the bad guys and want to be politically neutral, they're the ones that have lost their voice and lost their authority over the last couple of decades.
So I want to, for anybody who's unfamiliar, and this audience is very familiar with Brett Tolman, but if you were unfamiliar, Brett spent 30 years at the DOJ as one of the top prosecutors. Is this correct?
I have spent over a decade as an assistant U.S. attorney. I've spent almost 30 years working in the criminal justice system. I was 5 years as U.S. attorney. It's been my life's passion. It's been my life's passion to fix the justice system.
You can't. It would be hard to find a better authority, frankly, than Brett on this issue. And so, take his words with extreme weight here. However, there does seem to be something that is conflicting in what you just said, Brett. I can't square it exactly. You said that you put together a plan and you brought together a very sophisticated team, and you were part of that team to put together a plan to actually fix the Justice Department. What we were just talking about was that this plan, the plan to fix federal agencies, seems to have gone off quite well in places like the Institute of Peace, USAID, the Department of Education, the Pentagon. I mean, it's been unbelievable what the Pentagon's been able to accomplish. This Department of State. To say that there is an immovable deep state and that nothing good will ever happen and nothing will ever change, that's not true, actually. We've been able to see some remarkable changes. Again, Elon was able to salt the earth of USAID. I happened to just catch DC. I happened to be in DC at the right time to watch the letters come down. They were chiseling the letters off. I jumped out of my Uber. I'm like, I gotta get this. It's like I literally jumped out of a moving car to go film them ripping the letters of USAID off. You can change DC with the right plan. You say it's not Pam Bondi's fault. I'm not like sitting here to be some huge hater or anything like that, right? I want the truth. I'm not trying to scapegoat. But like it sure as hell sounds like Pam Bondi didn't follow the plan. Is that correct? Like, it's like
what I would say is,
can you square that for me? Yeah,
I'll square it. What I would say is,
sorry for
it
the long
has
question.
to be more than the AG. If you don't have the AG and the DAG on the exact same page together, the infrastructure, the power and the authority inside main justice is centralized in the DAG.
So
it's
this would be
equally, it is equally the
DAG means
responsibility.
Deputy Attorney General.
That's correct. Todd Blanche and Pam Bondi. And you know, this was an instance in which there were concerns. You didn't have Pam Bondi picking her Deputy Attorney General.
Yeah.
If you recall, the president announced Todd Blanche before he did the Attorney General.
I work with an executive producer who I've worked with for a decade. His name's ALX. I picked him because I need somebody at my side that is constantly protecting what we're building here as a company. And so that seems crazy, like actually.
It is. I think it's one big flaw. I hope it gets remedied. The next Attorney General needs to also have confidence that the Deputy Attorney General, that they will work well together, they'll be on the same page, and they will start to implement. And I agree with you. This is not just doom and gloom here. We do not have to go down the road of never being able to change DOJ. The right two people in those positions can change DOJ like we've seen in other agencies. And if they're on the same page and they don't let anyone else, undermine them inside the Department of Justice, they can do it. So that's why it didn't happen.
This is completely fascinating, Tom. So you were part of the team that put together a plan. You said that this is a plan your plan would be like similar to the reform plans that were brought and executed in various other large federal agencies, and that your plan wasn't followed because there was a total misalignment with the Attorney General and the Deputy Attorney General.
That is at the heart of what happened in this instance.
Wow.
The plan that they were handed was not just a plan of how to, implement the president's priorities or anything like that. This was not policy. This was structural plan. This was authority plan. This was, how do you reorganize the Department of Justice in a manner that would allow for the Attorney General and all those that are working for him or her are going to get on the same page and implement the president's priorities. And one thing that Tom said earlier, and I'll reiterate as well, it is not a bad thing, an unethical thing, or an illegal thing for the Attorney General to be enforcing the priorities of the president that they serve. They are all part of the executive branch. We have gone down this road of attorney generals have to be independent. No, that is actually what has caused the Department of Justice to believe it is the fourth branch of the government. And they are not. They are not. And the media has bought into it, and the left screams it all the time that there has to be independence. No, there doesn't. They are both in the executive branch, and the president is the head of the executive branch.